sitting here with Justin Katz and Mike Gaines, who are producers of the Edwardian Ball, which is a fabulous event. It happens on 4 floors at what used to be the Masonic Hall here in San Francisco, and it's pretty incredible. So I'm going to ask you guys about this. I understand you've been doing this for 12 years. And what is the concept?
This event, the Edwardian Ball, it began as really a celebration of Edward Gorey, and of a fanciful time created or recreated or some kind of blend around his works and the stories and fashions and oddities that he presented.
Now, I gather from what I've seen on site that this is something more than a dance. This is not people coming into a hall and having a nice dance dressed up in goryish costumes. What can people expect when they show up?
A world of art, art created really, I think, for the majority, or for the most part, by the spectators themselves. They're walking art. 98%, I would say, of the spectators that come to the event, or the guests that come to the event, are actually dressed, I guess it crosses many genres. Characters from past gory stories, Edwardian-esque attire, steampunk, lots of steampunk genre, I guess, represented here as well.
This event was founded by the band, by my ensemble, Rosencoven, and we had then, as well as now, always really pushed and blended genres with our groups. So sort of at the heart of it, you have Rosencoven's 9-piece, kind of like a chamber orchestra meets jazz big band meets dreamscape kind of sound that'll take you anywhere from a tango to a waltz to a demonic dirge. Our group, as a music ensemble, has always told a story or created a narrative or created a theatrical space around what we do. Right.
And performing it in sets.
Mm-hmm. Lots of costumes, lots of sets. And I think it was our desire to continue the theatricality of Rosencoven's music that led us to reach out to Vaudeville Society to expect. You can really expect an environment where a literary fan is welcomed alongside a goth club goer from the early days. It's a very permissive, interpretive event where, you know, someone might come in with the angle of being a music fan or a fashion designer that has outfits in a stage show or is selling something, and that just fits right in with somebody who comes to understand the narrative of this year's theme or something like that.
That cross-pollination of the wide palette of art, you know, from fashion designers to music to theater to circus, really, I think, it gives rise to this cornerstone or this foundation story of stories that we choose every year.
So what is the story this year?
It's called the Iron Tonic. And if you're familiar with Gorey's illustration and work, the Iron Tonic, most of his work too, really gives it's an open book for interpretation. He doesn't give you, and I think I'm quoting Justin too, he doesn't give you a lot, yet he gives you everything, you know, to work with as far as the illustrations and the story are concerned. So in this regard, we take his illustrated story, and we interpret it with a live half-an-hour stage production with music accompanying.
And that occurs once in the course of the evening.
Yes, once, correct. Yet we have vignettes that we have popping up around the venue throughout the night based on gory stories from our side of things. And I mean, there'll be vignettes popping up from the audience perspective.
And the
Lots
venue,
of performers.
I have to explain for
Sure.
the people viewing this. The venue is how many floors
4 floors.
and how many square feet?
Wow. Yeah, what is the square footage of this venue? It must be 30,000.
It's spectacular.
I would imagine.
Each floor is spectacularly large.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
we're going
One
to
of
walk around.
the wonderful things about this venue, about the Regency, is it's such a labyrinth of wonderful spaces, and something that's always been important to us as creators of this is to provide a variety of environments for people to showcase their work, to interact, to see and be seen, to discover. This is not it's not a concert. It's not a monolithic presentation of work. We're not, saying come here and just see this thing. It's what's around that corner. What's in the Museum of Wonders. What's happening in the bazaar, and people find their ways through this, such that the 3 of us might all attend the event and have.
Imagine.
One thing that was really a pleasant surprise was the attendance in, I believe, 2007 of a personal friend of Gory's.
Oh, how wonderful.
And this woman came to us, and someone came up to the stage and said, there's someone here that really needs to meet you. And I came out, and there was a woman just simply but beautifully dressed for the ball, and she was visibly, I don't think shaken is the word, but moved. And she said, I want you to know that I was a friend of Edward Gorey's, and I heard about this, through people who are fans of his work, and I came out to see it. And I believe she lived on the East Coast. And she said, I just want you to know that I think he would have loved to see this happen. That was unexpected and wonderful. And since then, we've become involved with the Edward Gorey Charitable Trust, who each year gives a blessing to the event to continue using his works, likeness, name, and stories in support of what we do, recognizing that it's a celebration, which, Gorey was not into the labels often ascribed to him, that he was macabre, and that he was, that morbid, and these sorts of things. And we had I'm not comparing us to Gorey's body of work by any means, but I think Rosencoven had also been ascribed to sort of this dark, goth, certain kinds of genres where we didn't really feel
You
like
felt like
that.
you were having fun.
Yeah, we're having a great time with it, whether it's poetic or tongue-in-cheek. There was a kindred spirit we felt in these stories, and we thought we would enjoy presenting them.
And what is the circus connection with Gorey?
Well, it really came to us, and what the circus connection now is, and how it's flourished is it's the macabre presented in a whimsical way, that you can digest it. Satirical content that we can
there's
interpret.
Something essentially macabre about circus?
Macabre about circus. Well, personally, I love the fact that we're able.
It is death-defying, of course.
We're usually not macabre, so it's really fun to play, I think, character-wise on the Vaudeville Society side of things, to play with the character-driven stories that Edward Gorey gives us in, again, the macabre in a whimsical way. And to be able to take that and expand upon it is really, like, personally, as directing the show and the stories, it's a deviation from what we usually do, and that's I think that satisfies all of us, the story-driven, character-driven theater side of things, instead of presenting just a cliche circus in a cliche way, which I think we're adamantly opposed to continuously anyway. So we love the idea that we're all adults and we can take it on a tongue-in-cheek side of things when it always ends in the demise, his stories of children. You know, it's strange, and I think what really turns us on too is being able to use the story and the work as a foundation, and then give our own interpretation of it. You know, interpret it, and that's I think the most satisfying thing is after a show when a guest comes up and reviews the show with us and has read something, because we present a lot of in metaphorical ways. We present the shows, and that has totally interpreted our work in a deviation from what we really were trying to convey or wanted to convey, because we're not shoving it down people's throats. And I think we use his work for that kind of metaphorical presentation and conveyance, and that's the real heartening thing I think about this event for us from a stage perspective. You know?
One thing that is, I think, always really wonderful is that Vaudeville Society it's a very sexy troupe. I mean, it's just by character, by design, by presence, the passion that they put forward. And it's really, I think, just wonderful every year to see what they do with Gory's stories, which are quite dispassionate. I mean, he's not a sexy presenter of stories, both in a literal or just sort of a spirit sense. His stories are flat affect, very little motion, very little emotion, and it's really great to see the tribute to his work that they can present and the character space that they can hold in these stories. And you really become engaged with these characters, yet they're so alive. These characters, they create a stage show, and Rosencoven creates the dynamic and the soundtrack and the musical movements that I think create a passionate, engaging show that stays true to his work.
So what we're doing here is we're going to take a walk through the venue, which is in what used to be the old Masonic building at Van Ness and Sutter, and it's very, very beautiful. So where are we now, Justin?
This is the Regency Lodge. Mm-hmm. This was where they held the Masonic meetings and the lodge level. We'll walk by one example of the throne that used to fill this room. Uh-huh. And this will be the home of a new part of the Edwardian Ball, which is our Museum of Wonders. This will be our Edwardian auditorium.
Okay, Justin, where are we now? This is another room.
This will be the entrance to the Museum of Wonders. When people come off of the elevator, they'll come in and be greeted by their fireplace in the study. We'll have a fortune-telling booth in the corner, some musical performances, and some guides that will lead you through the museum and its treasures.
I love this ancient elevator. Look at this, folks.
This was one of the first elevators of its kind that was installed in 1909. It was a showpiece for the Otis Elevator Company, their latest technology.
Does that look like Gory or what?
Here comes our operator now.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Do you know anything about this elevator?
Well, I know that our attendant here was actually the original attendant in 1909. Due to some Masonic charms, he has not aged one
Really?
bit.
That is astonishing.
It's a ritual gift.
this is the entrance to the Grand Ballroom.
And we go through the rotunda, which is the main entrance and departure point for pretty much everywhere in the Edwardian Ball world. We'll be this point heading towards the Grand Ballroom itself, which is the main stage and on Friday night, home of the Barbary Midway and our carnival rides.
Carnival rides?
We have a group, a really wonderful group called Cycle Side that build bicycle-powered rides, and we'll install it right in the center here. Last year we had a bicycle-powered Ferris wheel, and this year we're lucky enough to have a 25-foot bicycle-powered carousel, complete with a calliope that people can queue up and swirl around.
So this is the last room we're going to look at?
We have one more level.
We have one more level. Okay. Good. So this, I understand, it will be the vendors' hall. And how many vendors do you expect?
We will have about 40 vendors this year in the bazaar, which will fill up this as well as the large room to our right.
That's
And
large, all right.
we do have a stage here, which will be a piano saloon for the night with live music and vignette performances.
And of course the bar, people don't care about that.
Of course, the bar.
And there'll be food as well.
There will be food.
So the Regency Kitchen will serve dinner?
Light dinner.
Light dinners. I guess stuff like this. Chicken artichoke, a garlic pizza, sausage, cheese plate, and a teriyaki meatball slider. Check that out.
Greetings, one and all. Welcome to the site of the 2012 Edwardian Ball. We would love for you to join us on Friday and Saturday, January 20th and 21st, for a night of Edward Gorey's circus and music celebration.